It's Michael Brown's circus. It's brought out the worst black people in general. It has brought out the worst in black people. Michael Brown's own friend gave a testimony right after the murder, and he gave a story that is unbelievable, partially unbelievable. According to his friend, they were walking in the middle of the street. I'm not even going to deal with this store robbery until a little later. They were walking in the middle of the street, and they refused to get out of the middle of the street when the cop asked them or told them to get out of the street. Now, I believe the cop did, as Michael Brown's friend said, got in a position in front of them, cut off their path, and opened the door so the door would hit Michael Brown as he opened it. But I do not believe a car door bounced off Michael Brown's body and threw the cop back into the car. I believe Michael Brown slammed the car door shut, and he reached inside of the car after he did that and engaged in a physical altercation with the cop. Why do I believe he did that? Well, because it's impossible for a person sitting inside of a car to reach outside the window and choke a man who's standing outside the car on his feet, 6'3" tall. That's impossible unless he was reaching his head inside the car window, which is what I believe he was doing. And why do I believe Michael Brown was the type to attack a cop? Because it was clearly demonstrated in that video of him robbing that store. And I hear a bunch of victim mentality type black people trying to convince themselves that that was not Michael Brown in that video robbing that store. But if you look at the video and compare the person you see in that video with the person you see lying in that street, you see it's the same person. Same socks, same shirt, same shorts, same underwear. The only thing that is different is that in the store he's wearing sandals. In the street he is only in his socks. A lot of people say those were boots on his feet when he was in the street. That is a lie. He is only wearing socks in the street. But you clearly see gray shirt, brown shorts, dark blue underwear, and multicolored socks. It takes a person who is almost completely out of their mind to walk into a store, take items right in front of the clerk, and then push the clerk around after that clerk confronts him. That showed that Michael Brown had a mental problem that you black people don't want to deal with. You want to paint him as a innocent victim, an angel, which he is not. And that is what the media is pushing, because they know it's easy to get you stirred up because you're so traumatized by the history of this country. According to an eyewitness who saw the event unfold, he said Michael Brown at first ran away from the cop and then started running toward the cop.
So then he ran. Police got out and ran after him. The next thing I know, he coming back towards the police. The police had his guns drawn already.
Now what the hell are you running towards a cop for? Don't talk to me about, oh, he was still an unarmed teen. I'm not going to take my chances in fighting a man who is 6'3" and over 300 pounds with my bare hands, with him charging at me. If I'm a cop and I got a gun, I'm putting him down. I'm going home to my family. Little do most people know, I believe there's a cop killed every 48 hours. I'm not going to be one of those cops. And if a man is crazy enough to attack a cop, me, a police officer, then he is obviously crazy enough to try to kill me. I ain't taking a chance. I'm putting him down. It's as simple as that. Michael Brown was a gang member. He was a blood. I know blood signs when I see them. Aren't these the same people who we talk about are the biggest problems in the black community? Anytime we talk about black issues, the black community, the first thing we talk about is black on black crime, black on black murders. Who doing the majority of these murders? It's these gang members. So Michael Brown was one of these people who we ourselves talk about as being the biggest problem in the black community. But as soon as one of them, their behavior gets them killed by a cop, we want to pretend like they don't exist. That's when we want to pretend like these psychopaths don't exist. And we ourselves, we can't even understand the mentality of these gang bangers out here killing other black men. But here, once it backfires and once karma takes place, we want to put wings on these same individuals, on these same Bloods and Crips and folks and whatnot. How does that make sense? Black people always got to be the victim. And you got that mentality because of the history in this country. There is a problem with police brutality. It is real. But this is not one of those cases. You have to stop believing this idea that every time a cop kills a black man, that it is a case of police brutality, of racism. Perhaps Darren Wilson is racist. It's likely that he is. But whether he was racist or not, he would have been justified in that killing. The problem here is black males like Michael Brown. Big, hot-headed bullies, gangsters, who got no problem stealing, pushing people around, breaking laws, telling cops they're not going to obey laws when the cops tell them to obey laws, willing to get physical with cops. That's our problem. Govern your own behavior and cops won't have to govern you. Had you been walking on a sidewalk, the cop would have never said anything to you. But no, you big and bad, you above the law. You can push people around, walk in the middle of the street and tell a cop you ain't going to obey the law, even if you've been instructed to obey the law. Those are the kind of things that happen. I don't care how old he was. Any man that big, and you a grown man, and you willing to get physical, if you charging at a cop, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think might happen? It would have been a great show of restraint on that cop's behalf had he chose not to shoot Michael Brown. Had he chose not to pull his gun and try to restrain Michael Brown and got beat up, how many of you would have rallied for that cop, saying what a great show of restraint that cop showed? Most of you might have applauded Michael Brown for whooping a cop's ass. But since that cop decided not to get his ass whooped, which probably would have happened if he engaged in a physical confrontation with Michael Brown, since he decided to shoot Michael Brown, now hands up, don't shoot. Even though according to this own eyewitness testimony, a black man, why would this black man lie on Michael Brown? He was not being interviewed by a reporter. He was not under the pressure of hands up, don't shoot. He was talking to a fellow community resident. So to the media, y'all need to stop airing this nonsense. The only thing y'all doing is putting a spotlight on the most ignorant and stupid black people among us.